Take a look at these homes. In 1980, the median U.S. house cost roughly 3.5 times the median household income. For a typical family, the American dream was a reachable hurdle. Today, in major hubs like San Francisco or New York, that cost has ballooned to over 10 times the median income. The hurdle has reached the height of a 40-story skyscraper. You are likely producing more economic value than any generation in history. Yet, despite that record-breaking output, the distance between a hard day's work and financial security is wider than ever. Society often frames being broke as a lack of character or a failure to work hard enough. But the numbers suggest that today's workers face a set of structural headwinds that did not exist 40 years ago. You are caught in an economic pincer movement. On one side, macroeconomic policies are engineered to devalue the currency you earn. On the other, modern corporate strategies prioritize extracting maximum labor while minimizing the worker's share of the wealth. Understanding modern financial burnout requires looking past the narrative of personal failure. We have to examine the two specific forces that have been built to trap you. Historically, massive price spikes were tied to specific crises. During the Civil War, prices soared, but they eventually fell back to a reasonable baseline once the conflict ended. This changed after World War II. The Federal Reserve shifted to a policy of gradually and perpetually increasing the money supply. By minting new cash and putting it into circulation, they ensured that the cost of living would never stop climbing. This policy was a reaction to the Great Depression. The Fed's greatest fear is a deflationary spiral, the mechanism seen in these breadlines, where falling prices lead to mass layoffs and a race to the bottom for the entire economy. The Fed's model assumes that as prices rise, wages will follow, because technology makes us more efficient. But this theory ignores a mathematical reality baked into the modern economy: Baumol's cost disease. In sectors like car manufacturing, technology creates massive efficiency gains. One worker can produce significantly more value per hour than they could decades ago, allowing for higher wages while keeping costs relatively stable. But labor-intensive fields like healthcare, education, or the arts reach an efficiency plateau. A teacher cannot use a machine to educate 30 students in 5 minutes. This labor simply cannot be sped up without losing its value. This chart shows the result of Baumol's math. Because low productivity sectors must still pay competitive wages to keep their staff, they are forced to aggressively raise their prices. Consequently, the costs and essential human-driven services are mathematically forced to outpace your wage growth. Every year, your dollar dies a little more as healthcare and housing move further out of reach. The second front is the workplace. This chart tracks the labor share of income, the wealth ending up in your paycheck. Due to automation and globalization, capital owners have shrunk this share. As the pie grows, the worker slice gets thinner. To maximize those returns, corporations have turned to the great flattening. Companies are downsizing middle management to streamline operations, removing layers of overhead to protect the bottom line. While this looks efficient on a balance sheet, it has severed the bridge between labor and capital. The traditional promotion track is gone, leaving workers stuck at the entry level with no ladder to climb. This leads to lean staffing, running a business with the absolute bare minimum of employees. Even when a company is highly profitable, management keeps the workforce small, forcing each remaining worker to pull double duty and wear multiple hats. Technology has also eroded the boundaries of the workday. Between constant communication apps and bossware that logs every keystroke, you are essentially living in a digital panopticon where work-life balance is a relic of the past. If you excel in this environment, you often face performance punishment. Hard work is rewarded with more uncompensated tasks because you've proven you can handle the load. You become too useful in your current role to ever be promoted out of it. These strategies are optimized to extract the highest possible output from the individual, while ensuring that upward mobility remains almost impossible. These two fronts work in tandem. Because the Federal Reserve's policies guarantee that your money buys less every year, you are forced to endure these dead-end corporate structures just to survive. This pressure has driven millions of Americans to income stack. Nearly 10 million people are now working multiple jobs. And for 500,000 of them, working 2 full-time positions has become the standard procedure for just treading water. The overall economy is producing more wealth than ever before, but as the total pie grows, the corporate mechanisms we've discussed are constantly readjusted to ensure your portion continues to shrink. If you are working yourself to the bone and still falling behind, it isn't because you lack stamina or dedication. You are fighting against a mathematical current. Recognizing these structural forces is the first step toward understanding your situation. Being overworked and underpaid is the predictable result of these interlocking systems. This is the end state of the modern economy, not a personal failure.